Right. So this is Guido from the Gold Trainers, and I'm sitting here virtually with Niels.
What
Niels,
up? What up?
Niels, you are a neuroscientist. You are passionate about uh, bringing light to kids. Quite literally, actually, you are an emotional expressionist fanatic, to say it like that. And yeah, you are many more things. But yeah, tell
Thank
us
you
a
so
little bit
much.
more.
Thank you so much.
Tell us a little bit more about yourself, Niels.
Yeah. So she said already, like I'm a neuroscientist by training. I'm a teacher by heart, but a rebel by nature. That's how I like to introduce myself. Um, I've I've done multiple studies, but the latest one was indeed a research master within the cognitive sciences. And what I feel I'm mainly passionate about is teaching in general, helping people get further. So I've been working in education for quite a while. I have a lot of thoughts about that. My first startup that I helped build was also on that. Furthermore, I'm very sporty as well, like you, and I love a good morning routine. So I love to challenge myself physically as well. That makes me feel. I love that, man. So I feel that I function by challenges in general. Um, yeah. What else? What do you want to know?
Yeah, so you said like specialized in the cognitive field. I'm curious, what made you go into neuroscience?
Yeah. No, it's a good question. I think honestly, it was the professor that I had in the second year called Erik Scherder, who was one of the most brilliant lecturers I think I ever had. One of the most inspirational types, and there came an enormous boost in applications for the neuroscience side due to him. I think before he gave lectures anyway, there were like 15 people who wanted to do it, and after he gave lecture, like 80 or 100 or more. So he made me very curious about the brain, how the brain can explain behavior. And to be honest, another side was as well that the research master that I did was the most difficult one to get into as far as the psychology track went. So that also fired me up, like, okay, I want to do something also that's very challenging. So let's do a research master combined with another master, and let's go.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So that other master, was that in the field of neuroscience? Did I get
Yeah.
that well?
Yeah. So it's the research master in cognitive and clinical neuro psychology, and a 1 year's master of neuropsychology itself, so clinical neuropsychology, and that focused more on the practical side. I worked 6 years in a hospital in geriatrics, so I work with on the memory department, a lot of Alzheimer, like other types of dementia as well, of vascular diseases. So that was very interested, and I was mainly focused actually on the elderly there, because I saw how we interacted with old folks, how we just let them sit and die in elderly homes, and that gave a lot of pain in my heart. So I wanted to do something good about that.
Okay, okay. That sounds like a nice way of contributing to the planet, to the people.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, exactly. So you're contributing in that way. Yeah, let's speak also about your passion project, man. We might jump back to neuroscience in a bit.
Sure.
I'm very curious because I said it in the introduction, like bringing light to kids. Yeah, like without further ado, what really happened?
So yeah, it was a lot of fun. So what happened was that I was on a road trip with some entrepreneurs in Italy, and at some point we were at least three of them were sitting around a table, and the idea was brought up to do or to participate in a rally, because it was one of these guys had it in his head already for a long time. Now, after I heard that idea, I think an hour after they discussed it, I was like, dude, a rally through the desert, and it was also to support education. I'm like, I'm in. Like, if we can support education with a rally, this is it, man. We need to do this. so what we found out, so it was really through the Sahara, and it was focused also on bringing solidary materials. And what we wanted to do is to really investigate what are the biggest challenges the people there face now in that district, and how can we aid there. And what they told us is that a lot of schools cannot open because electricity is just too expensive. So schools close very soon. Girls are not safe at night because it's very dark, and kids get run over because there's just no light. And that's a horrible way of living. So yeah, we took on the challenge. We partnered up with Signify, so which was the previous Philips Light Foundation. Discussed with the CEO, and they said, okay, let's do this. We're gonna sponsor you with all the lights you need, solar lanterns, and we're gonna make it happen. So that and in the end, we brought about 1,500 lights to the main school, who then divides it to all the rest of the smaller schools in the district. And this was
amazing.
Yeah, it was really cool, and it was really the deep desert, man, where there's just nothing, and people really live in really small villages or sand houses and all these things. So it's very interesting to go there. Yeah, so those was an amazing experience, and we did it with 22-year-old cars, which was also a lot of fun, of course. So it's really the combination of seeing a challenge and creating a meaningful kind of fun adventure around it. Because I believe a lot of people want to do good, but back to neuroscience, we as people do like if there's something in for us, yeah, if we get a good feeling of it. And I think if we can attract more people of doing good while having fun, I think that's a brilliant combination.
Yeah, exactly. And this might also come across as something that the old generation says, like, no, but you go on holiday and you work, right? Like there's like separation.
Definitely.
So,
Yeah.
what can you tell me about that?
Yeah, well, exactly that response I also got, like, yeah, but now we're just, because we started a crowdfund, and some reactions that we got at first was, yeah, we're just funding your holiday, and you're just gonna have fun. I mean, it's very difficult to debunk that, because it's like Liechtenstein, the philosopher, once spoke about different language games, and that you speak a different language game, and that you can be right at the same level, that it can walk parallel. So I think, so yes, it's you're funding also a holiday, and we're having fun, but it's not the same as you see this holiday. This is life for us, and we want to create life like that, where you are having fun, doing good for the world, and keep progressing like that.
Yeah, exactly. So there's way more to it than just racing a rally.
Exactly. Yeah, correct.
Like how many kids did you bring lights to last time?
Well, in the end, it totaled up to around 1,400 kids, if we see the whole district. And if you see the amount of kids that you have helped with that, is that every year new kids come to the school. So you can use it progressively. So the total amount can be even more than that. But 1,400 kids have light in general now. Morocco is divided in 12 districts, and we helped, as far as we understood, now one full district of with lights.
Yeah, because that also helps people there to not get run over. Did you say that?
Yeah, because it gets very, very dark at night. Of course, there's no light pollution whatsoever. So when cars do drive there, and the kids there are kind of crazy. So even when we were driving the rally, they just stand on the road because they want to wave to you, but they literally stand on the road and get off the road like last minute. Sometimes my heart was like pumping like crazy, because these kids don't give a hoot. And when they're used to that, playing on the streets, then they don't see a car coming as well anymore. So that's a big issue. Yeah, cars don't see kids.
Wow, man. So it's yeah, big blessing that there's now more light, less accidents, so to speak.
Most definitely. Yeah, I saw some beautiful pictures coming in of them installing the lights as well in the smaller school. So that was very nice to see. I was very happy to see that. Because we had a big learning. The question was how many kids, right? How many kids
Yeah,
were
how many
helped?
kids? I heard the answer, and then I was like, wow, okay, so you helped actually more than 1,400 kids, and progressively more.
Mm-hmm.
And what inspired me as well is like, okay, you're not only like bringing them light for studying and stuff, but really saving lives, like directly, you know, like that's more. I think not everybody would relate bringing light to saving lives directly, so that would be an interesting connection to make. And what I'm curious about is, okay, so are you gonna do that again? I heard something about meaningful adventures.
Yeah, so our idea is to organize these kind of adventures way more. So now, due to the crisis we're in, of course, it's not possible to organize another rally or another adventure like this. But my hope is that we could partner up again, or keep partner up with Signify, as they are active in more than 70 countries. And they told us before, like, hey, tell me whatever country you want to do a next rally or adventure in, and we will support you there. We keep bringing you in touch with our local teams, and then you can just start. So, and that's amazing, right? Because they also have the knowledge of installing solar panels. They could train us, and we could also potentially train others then in a remote village how to do maintenance then there. And I think if we bring these like-minded spirits, these entrepreneurs, or people who have autonomy over their own life or want to go on a purposeful adventure, have that fun adventure, because people deserve that as well. But when we go there, we do good. That's what we're there for. And do this in all these 70 countries. That's a nice challenge. I like them. I think, and documenting that along the way to show the stories that are there. I mean, it's so important to capture the stories, to show also these countries how beautiful they are, but also truly what they need, not just the fancy sites. I think that's very, very powerful. So that's what we want to pursue.
Awesome, man. Awesome, man. Just give me a couple names of countries of those 70 where you would really like to go.
Yeah, so the other thing is, I think due to the coronavirus, I still didn't get a response from Signify, and I mailed them twice. So I hope the person we were in contact with is still having the same job. Else we just lost the contact. But hey, that's life. So I wouldn't know next country for now. We had a rally planned, of course, and that was through was the Mongol rally. And then you can think of Turkmenistan, Kyrgyzstan, Mongolia itself. You can go Georgia. A lot of things can happen. Bulgaria, actually, the rural areas there need a lot of help. These kind of countries as well.
Yeah, interesting, man. So you would see countries on a way different side than like usually we're sending out in the media, right? Like I mean, like the West, like we're portraying some countries in such a way that people have the feeling like we know how it is there, but actually we only saw some small footage on the media, and that
Correct.
creates the whole image, right? So you're gonna show when you would go on a whole different side. Is that also one of the purposes?
Yeah, definitely. So, what they say about stereotypes is how you are seen is how you are become at some point, and how you will behave. And I think that's very, very powerful, but also a very dangerous thing. And they did this with numerous studies on teacher-student relationships as well. And if the teacher sees a student as the annoying kid, it will become the annoying kid. And this happens with countries or the inhabitants as well. So what we're doing is now we're creating a documentary on our last rally. We did a lot of interviews as well with people who were being brought up in Morocco, and how it was to grow up as a kid, and how it was on the educational side, and if they got enough chances, and how the cultural and societal look was on upbringing. And I think that's very powerful. So we very much focus on the education side, the upbringing of a kid, and how are the chances for these kids? Do they have the chance to believe in themselves, and do they have the fundament to grow in something bigger than they would ever think they could, and thereby lifting up the rest of the country?
Yeah, wow, man. Sounds inspiring.
Thank you. Thank you.
So yeah, Niels, look, we'll for sure speak about that in a future stage when you have a little bit more information about when the next, rally for light and let
Race
kids
for
shining.
kids. Race for
Rally
kids.
race for kids.
Yeah.
When the next one is happening, the meaningful adventure. Yeah. Lastly, I want to talk to you about. I would love to ask you about like expression, self-expression, and definitely the part of emotions and men. Like, why are you so interested in that?
Yeah, male vulnerability. Yeah, I am very interested in that because it's something I have or still sometimes struggle with. I see myself as a open person, and I think I say a lot of things that happening in my life to people around me anyway. And let's say you can only feel vulnerable when it's something you want to protect, right? So vulnerability is on a spectrum. So I might be very open, but I'm still protecting this side, while someone else there, it's already the point where someone is being vulnerable. What I see is the societal view on male vulnerability is still an issue there, where the stereotype is that still men have to be strong. I mean, strong means don't show your emotions. And I think that affects us a lot in the relationship side. That can be love relationships, but it can also be the relationship with your father, with your mother, with your friends. And I think we miss a lot of growth as men, because we are not so vulnerable towards each other. So what you see is that with a lot of groups, that more repressed groups, they really come together and speak about whatever happens in their lives, the struggles they go through, and how you can help and support each other. And that is such a powerful and strong thing to do. And what I feel with men, we don't really do that, especially the white, cisgender male. We are the most privileged one, and we tend to not come together and talk about the things that we go through and how we can help each other grow and help all that we have repressed right now, or in the past, because that also gets fallen behind. We tend to see that as a joke, and that is an issue. So we cannot control each other's behavior. We don't have that big order anymore.
Yeah, we miss that sort of, huh? And it's interesting. Like, and when I say we, I want to talk about the general view indeed. Like you also said, like, it's interesting to see how you see yourself as an open person, but at the same time, like, okay, but that's now my view. What is an open person? Because when a person would be really open in a new level, sort of, then maybe you would, if you would see yourself next to that person, you would say, hey, maybe I'm not that open. And it's also about the process, right? So what can you tell me about that process?
The process of me opening up.
Yeah.
Now I'm doing a lot of soul searching in general. I'm not the consistent meditator or something. And I have some personal, and then maybe this is not open now, but stuff I work through, as I said, and talk to you about, like with EMDR, some traumatic events. That is a process of opening yourself up and create self-acceptance and create self-forgiveness. And I think that is vital for full openness. Because if you have nothing to protect anymore, nothing to protect, then there's no feeling of vulnerable anymore. Eh? Being vulnerable is the fear of a negative consequence of you opening up. But if nothing negative can happen, then that feeling will fade.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that. Indeed, like how how illusions are made up in the mind mostly, right? Like
Correct.
yeah, we're just like protecting something that we think that is not good if we share that with the world.
Exactly. And
So we
and
keep our
sometimes,
privacy or something about it, right?
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, and I think it's with the world. It's how we are afraid to be judged by the world. But I also believe always comes from the inside, and maybe it's more of a judgment you do towards yourself to what you think the world is saying. I'm a big believer of that as well. So because if the world responds weirdly to you opening up, I think your immediate reaction is like, okay, that's kind of a weird response. So it doesn't hurt so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's more you judging. Yeah, of course, hurtful things can be said from, or you can be rejected, and rejection always hurts. We see that in the brain as well. It's actually physical pain that you endure then. So rejection, I think that's a big one there. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, let's go into that then, because you told me about you started up something
Mm-hmm.
uh, before, right? Like Meaningful Adventures is not your first time you're going into something.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you built some business, you were trying to achieve something, and then you realized something. Like before I give details, I want to invite you to paint this picture. Like what did Niels do when he was beginning 20s? What did he build? Or like tell me a little bit about it.
Actually, I think the first, nah, it's not a venture, but the first thing I did that was really for myself was I gave full-time guitar lessons. I tend to forget that as my entrepreneurial side. So I gave guitar lessons to kids from 12 till 18. That was a lot of fun. But the first venture I helped building, I was not the owner there, but I helped build from when it was small to when we were very big, was um, organization that gave exam preparations to university students. So we would prepare the the students with statistics, mathematics, or doesn't matter. So it can be the psychology students, medicine, the business students, you name it, everything.
Yeah, exactly.
And because I was so frustrated about how university were treating students, the ability or the resources that students got when they were really struggling with the more difficult courses, and that they wanted to understand it, but they just couldn't, and no one reached out helping hand there. And like for me, psychology, statistics was seen as a filter kind of exam, and it was so useless. So I was angry, and I thought, you know what, then I'm just gonna give exam preparation myself. I'm gonna help all these students. I'm gonna stand in front of 300 people in a lecture, and I will just explain it to you. And I also didn't understand statistics at first, but I understand it now. So I understand exactly why you don't understand it, and I will help you get through it. And not only that, I will let you see how it can be fun and also useful in real life, right? Because statistics is actually being applied every day. We are statistics. We continuously throughout the day, the risk taxation, all these things. So, and if you show people that, it becomes a lot of fun. So, yeah, that was my driver. I was angry at the university. Yeah, and it worked really well in building
that. So you use that anger and
Yeah,
flipped it around.
exactly.
But there was a little sarcasm in that, right? Like it didn't work very well in the long run, or did it?
No, it worked really well with building up, but I think what happened is that I for the first 2 years we grew really fast, but I was still studying at the same time, doing my research master and also the internship, which was kind of heavy. But then at some point we already got an office, a big office, and then I started working there, and the relationship that I had with the original founder changed towards I was the one who always did everything good. I was the prodigy, and when I got stuck in an office, I became very unhappy, and I lost my true self. We need to wear always a suit and tie, and I don't know. I got trapped in myself. I didn't get the contact with the people anymore with the colleagues that I had before, and that was actually very unpleasant. Yeah. So I really lost myself there. I became I didn't become the bad manager, but I got treated as the bad manager because I was focalizing all the things, all the rules from above, and now I was out of nowhere the annoying middle manager. But my intention was to help everyone to be more happy in their job. So it was very awful. I imagine one instance where at some point a new colleague that I brought in as well. He said he had a barbecue with 3 other colleagues. And yeah, but you're not invited. And that hurt so much. that hurt so much. It's like, oh man, that stinks. Yeah, that was so odd. Yeah, and in the end, and how it ended at some point is that I don't think at some point I did my my job the best that I could at some point, because I was put in a position what I couldn't function. The ask was for all the 14 full-time business developers that we had and the 250 managers that I knew every detail of what they were doing all the time, every time, and how to perfect that. And micromanagement is the dumbest thing you can do anyway. And that was completely against what I was doing before. I had 40 teams who I was managing at the same time because I understood how to coach them, motivate them, and help them troubleshoot, and not because I knew every little thing. I mean, so that was an issue. I should have addressed that earlier, but I was too afraid to lose what I had. I was afraid. Yeah. I was afraid.
Yeah. It's interesting how that plays back and how you see that now, right? Like the perspective of the past. So interesting. Thanks for sharing, Niels.
No
what I would love to ask, like maybe like a finishing touch, like because you have many more stories about failure and about like things where you really were good in, but then you realize like, hey, is this now actually success or is it failure if I would go on with this because I'm not fully bringing out the best version of myself in this project. So let's say you're starting up your business. There's someone who is watching, starting up their business and is really looking for an advice that a person like you started up different kind of businesses, helped up with starting up. What do you really need to seek in yourself to build something, right? What is your perspective on that? And maybe you can add a story, like feel free to add a story in that.
So again, to your questions, for someone who wants to start a new business or a new venture, what advice would I give that person? That is to really look inside yourself what the reason is why you want to start up what you want to start up, why you want to do what you want to do. And I don't mean the Simon Sinek, start with why and why should other people care, and because then you lose what it's all about. Why is it truly that you want to do what you want to do? And the story I can say around it is that the startup I built after other company, Athena Studies, was Ninjafy, and I wanted to make employees happy again, because that was something that I was struggling with, and change leadership and all these kind of things. But the reason I also wanted to start it was because I wanted to show the world, see, I can build startup also, and I wanted to make it big and important. And that's also for the wrong reason. So my why, Simon Sinek, is good, but not my personal reason. That was not good. That was not congruent. So I had a beautiful story to sell, but I couldn't back it up with what I was doing as well, because it didn't feel good. The feeling of making something big or saying, hey, every day I know how to make someone happy and give someone value, that was not there. So you got to know how every day you add value and you get some happiness back.
Wow. Yeah, exactly. So, and also find the I hear in that, like, it's not only that you get this external happiness back, but also that you're internally just really feeling what you do, right? Without like that you have to sell something, that the selling part becomes so much more effortless.
Correct.
right? Did you feel like, hey, I'm really helping you if you would say yes to this? So it's not about like that you have to. It's more about that if you want to be helped.
Definitely, definitely. That's super important. And just really know who you are and believe in yourself, and don't say, I just got to create self-confidence now. But really, really look into yourself. If you believe, truly believe in what you are going to do, and if you dare to, every time you face a setback, because you will, maybe daily, know how to push yourself through it, or if you have someone to talk with, like, your mental health is at such risk. 30% of entrepreneurs get burned out. I've faced burned out myself.
Exactly, man.
Have someone to
That's
speak to. Really, very important.
yeah. Wow, good advice, man. Good advice. And it's also interesting, right? If you see that what you just said, and look at how many people are like thinking, like, yeah, I need to have more confidence about my ideas. But
Yeah,
look, I'm here to say, like, maybe your ideas are not even yours. I'm here to say, like, maybe you're just going for the fast success route, and somebody else told you a long time ago that you should become successful, and now you're like seeking this way of success. But what
yeah,
at the end, not even mind, like, what if everything succeeds that you do? That's also a question. I
exactly,
would maybe you're not even becoming that happy. Maybe it's just because
exactly,
of you feel like the image of success is what you're striving for.
exactly. What does success mean to you? That is such an important question to investigate. Not necessarily know when you do it. It's learning by doing. I believe in that. Learning by doing. Go do it. But don't set your mind into it. Understand continuously then, what does it mean for me, success? And for me, to be honest, success means peace of mind. Peace of mind is, I think, one of my better success states. Yeah.
Yeah. Inner peace, inner peace.
Inner peace, yeah, I think that's a very important one. And of course, an underlying fundament for that is that you can sustain yourself, maybe the people around you, and have some variation, some adventure that you can do. But that's very much realistic. I think in the end, success equals happiness, and happiness is for me peace of mind.
Yeah, interesting, man. And thanks for sharing your story, Niels.
You're more than welcome.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for asking. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, for sure. We're gonna talk more about it. So
Definitely gonna do
let's
this.
have a conversation in the future. For now, I want to thank you again, and let's keep each other updated, man.
We're gonna do that every day, man.
For,
Quarantine life.
for
Work out
sure,
every
man.
day.